I told you and the public that many of the actions were taken to remove fictitious names from the payroll, ghost names from the payroll, some of them living ghosts, were possible because of the audit, the national payroll personnel audit that was conducted by the GAC and the reports that were never implemented by the previous administration. When we took over, we worked with the GAC to initiate the implementation of the recommendations, which serve our country very well, very, very well. But here's the thing about the current revelation. There are political offices in this country. When assumed by people, when they are leaving, their employees are supposed to leave along with them. We have a precedent in the legislature. Senators and representatives, when they come on with their personal staff who are not civil servants. The civil servants are direct government employees in the central administration of the Senate and the House. That's why the CSA is only protective of those, because those are the people who stay there and perform professional services to the government. But those who are employed with representatives and senators, they come with the politicians, and when the politicians are leaving, they go. So what the CSA is doing is drafting a policy that will be endorsed so that people who are employed in the offices of the President of the Republic, domestic staff, those in the Vice President's office, those in the Speaker's, when any of those people are going, they all must go. They must not stay. The reason is simple. You must be comfortable with your domestic staff. The President must be comfortable with personal attendants. The President must be comfortable with chefs. They are poor. The President must be with people who work for them at home. The Vice President, the President pro tempore, the Speaker, they must. So the CSA is reforming that aspect by instituting a policy that will be endorsed so that Mr. or Madam President, when you are leaving, your entire domestic staff will go. And that's why we put them on contract, fixed contracts. So the current situation is a classic example. The Civil Service Agency wrote the Ministry of State to provide us with the list of domestic staff on March 25th. Here is the letter. March 25th. Here is the letter. Received on the 26th. Everything is here. We wrote the ministry to furnish us with the comprehensive listing of all domestic staff of the President. And we had a meeting with the ministry and said that they will have to enter into fixed contracts. And the judiciary, the associate justices, their personal staff, once endorsed by the government, this is going to be a one government policy. Once endorsed by the government, they also, when they are leaving, their staff will leave along with them, because those coming, the Chief Justice, the Associate Justices, they will also come with their domestic staff that they're comfortable with. So the CSA is instituting a policy to address that. I just thought to provide that clarification before I proceed with other matters for which I'm here today. Right, so you've been hearing in the news of late that Josiah Joekai Jr., the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, and Honorable Augustine Pehegafua of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning have stolen $43 million. The first 2 weeks they started their diabolical campaign, they put the number to $43 million. And then after 2 weeks, they increased it by $5 million, so it's $48 million. But today we have come to address this issue. The first thing I will tell you is that in 2024, I showed you this the last time. In 2024, we published our professionally acclaimed annual report. This annual report is published on our website. This annual report was officially unveiled here at the MICAT press briefing. We discussed all aspects of the annual report, including savings, workforce development, data we collected on the state of our civil service. We did everything with numbers in here. The World Bank, the EU, our major partners, they have this annual report, and the savings components from our intervention since we took over is captured in their reports. That's how authentic this annual report is. I will go to page 26 of the report. Page 26 covers total annual savings achieved in 2024 through our personnel verification process. For consultancy reforms, when we took over, we had up to 906 so-called consultants across government. We didn't have to ask anybody to shut that down. And that was also captured in the GSC report. So we're now acting out of the blues. We immediately shut it down. And did you know how much the government lost in servicing the 906 people? The government lost $6.1 million. I reported that here just for 2023. When we fix the consultancy problem, establish a regime through the national consultancy policy, do you know how much the government prevented us from losing going forward? $4.6 million. That's what we did. It's in this book. I will give it to some of you to capture. You can take pictures if you don't want to go to the website to download to read. I know we got a reading culture problem in our country, but I can share this with you. Yeah. So payroll cleanup process. So that was 906 to remove consultants. Payroll cleanup process, $1.8 million. After we removed 5,500 fictitious names. And I tell you the truth, fictitious names. If a single one of these were legitimate employees, we were going to have war in Monrovia. We were going to have war in Monrovia. These are diabolical people. These are liars who concocted, formed syndicates, some of them living abroad and feasting on the government, parasites, defrauding the government. Some of them right here in this country, living ghosts, don't work for government. And we removed them from the payroll. And it was $1.8 million. It's in here. And then we went to the mobile money. We went after the mobile money. To prevent mobile money fraud. We saved $1.8 million in that quest, meaning preventing the government from losing that going forward. Then Liberian dollars, $131.2 million Liberian dollars in mobile money fraud. It was a total of $8.2 million. It's in here. You don't even have to hear this from me. But it's unfortunate, again, we don't have a reading culture, and some people are just bent on distracting Liberians and making sure that Liberians lose trust in their government, so they engage in all kinds of malicious campaign. But they know the facts, they know the reality, they read it, they have carpets. They choose to change the numbers to cost. So the total here I've just read to $8.2 million US dollars, 131.2 Liberian dollars. We saved that. Then below here we even gave you a trend, and says that over the next 3-year period, if this trend of doing verification, personnel audit continues in government, government will be saving beyond. For each year, we gave you a projection. And these people are not professionals. Some of them, they are not educated, they went to school, but they're not educated, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's our problem in this country. That's why President Joekai is placing emphasis on transforming the education sector, make sure most of the people get an opportunity to go to school and learn better. So we gave the traits. We said year 1, 2025, if the trend continues, we said it is possible that the government will save $8.8 million. We said it's possible. That is a trend. That is not a saving. And then year 2, we said it's possible that if the trend continues unabated, the government can save $9.3 million if we can continue with all of these. And we have the political support, the will from the president and the government. And then we said in 2027, if the trend continues, we could save up to $9.8 million. Telling the world and telling all of you people that there are prospects. That if we continue to fight the way we are fighting, to clean up our payroll, put in place systems like the automation that we are doing to the payroll system, integrating, enhancing it with different measures to lock it down so that it's not accessible to criminals. We will be able to save on a yearly basis these amounts. So this thing is here. Did you hear anything about 43 million or 48 million? No, no, but it's just intentional. Because the minds they have is criminal by nature, it's natural. They have natural criminal minds. And that's what they're trying to use to distract Liberians from the good things that are happening in the country, the changes that are taking place, the responsible nature of governance that we are experiencing. Now, you guys know when I engaged with the legislature last year, when former Speaker J. Fonatikofa was Speaker, you guys know how many times I went up the hill, how many times I was cited to meet with the leadership. It was over one thing, one and only one thing. The Speaker had sent me this payroll. This is one Marvin Cole's stamp sealed right here. He used to be chairperson on Rules Order and Administration. Below here, I will not allow you to take the picture of the names because we got some decent Liberians on this payroll. We got some decent Liberians. They are not all criminally placed on this, some decent Liberians. But I will show you something. Below here, you see signatures. You see seals and stamps. This one here is the former HR signature and his stamp. This one in the middle is Marvin Cole's signature. I'm saying Marvin Cole because for me, I reserve honorable and Mr. titles for people who deserve it. Yes. And here is his name, his signature, and his stamp. Here is Speaker Kofa's signature, name, and seal. This is the payroll that the office of the Speaker submitted to me in July of last year with a dollar value of $327,000, asking me, the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, to approve. My initial reaction to the Speaker was that this did not go through the established CSA protocols, because CSA has in its purview the central administrations of the Senate and the House. So I rejected the approval. I never approved this payroll. And the reason is that this payroll had a variance of $43,000. Keep that in mind in relation to the so-called criminal and malicious attack. It had a variance of what? $43,000. Why the variance? Because the original payroll that the CSA was approving on a monthly basis was $284,000. That's the legit payroll dollar value that I was approving on a monthly basis for the central administration. The Speaker and his team went ahead and increased it from 284 to 327 and demanded that I approve the new payroll, which I rejected. That $43,000 was the one the Speaker and his team was trying to use to employ all these people you're talking about carrying out campaigns across the country. They are the ones on the payroll who were supposed to be receiving the difference, the $43,000. They were supposed to be receiving that money not as employees, but just as individuals at their whims and caprices that they can use anytime. Thank you. This is complete payroll fraud scheme that was in place that we busted. But let me tell you, maybe you still doubting. The speaker and his team got so angry, they got so mad at me and cited me to a leadership meeting. When I was going to that leadership meeting, I prepared a full text and I asked the Ministry of Justice authorities to accompany me to that meeting. The Solicitor General accompanied me to that meeting with lawyers of the Ministry of Justice. I prepared a full text because I knew that this day would come. I knew that today was going to come. So I did not just go to extemporaneously respond to why I rejected, why I refused to approve this payroll. So I prepared this text and I read this text to the speaker and the entire leadership of the House. I read it to them. It's not new. Today I have come here with copies of this text. They are up there for you, the media people. You will take it, you will go and discuss it, because it's public document, and the document is at the legislature. It was officially submitted by the Civil Service Agency. So now I told you to keep in mind the 43,000, right? I told you to keep in mind because it is that 43,000, and you know 1,000 is represented by K, right? So they only went and removed the K and put M. That's what they did criminally, and said that Minister Gafwan, a decent man, Josiah Joekai, a decent man, got together and ate 43 million. But they even forgot to know the magnitude of 43 million. 43 million in this economy. 43 million in this economy at this time. And then they said, okay. They went back to their own drawing board and said, well, let's increase it by 5, and they pushed it to 48 million. And came and designing all kinds of stuff, and on social media that we're not running, like the president said, we're not running this government in social media. We're very responsible. We come with integrity. We are held at the highest standard than any government officials, any set of government officials in this country, as far as history of governance in our country is concerned. This is the only government that is investigating itself every day. This is the only government that all the officials are subject to investigation from all integrity institutions. Where were they when they themselves were gang raping our economy, our social services, our governance structure, when they broke the political, economic, and social fabric of this country? Where were they? When no one there asked questions. When they ran Liberia as a criminal paradise. When Liberia lost its place within the Community of Nations. When we were not respected and honored by any measure. Where were they? But I'll tell you the truth, Liberians, the fact is that so much has been done, and so much has been done under 1 year. And we're not going to 2 years. In less than 2 years, so much has been done. And these guys fear that if we continue this trend, they're not going to have any space in the national discourse. Because most of them, like I said, they went to school, they sat in classrooms, but they never got educated, unfortunately. They just got out with papers, and we know that. And so they can't go through any competitive process. No, they don't want it. They want us to remain the same. But this country is moving. Liberia is rising. Rising. So I just came to debunk their bold-faced lies and their malicious attack, and to let them know that we are not distracted by those. We are focused, determined, and that's why reform in our civil service is just moving on. It's not stopping, and it's not going to stop. Many of them are scared that we have instituted a testing system and that they're not going to have a time and an opportunity to come around the civil service. And that's the goal, to make the civil service less attractive for job seekers. And that's the reason why the Ministry of Labor and I have started to talk and work together about reviewing, through the President's mandate, The minister and I have been having conversations about reviewing work permits issued to foreigners in this country, and how we can revoke those work permits and put Liberians in those jobs and give them thousands of jobs across the country. How we can make the private sector attractive and create jobs at concessions and at businesses and put Liberians. Thousands of jobs that are exclusively set aside for Liberians by law are occupied by foreigners. We know that we can generate resources when we issue work permits for those jobs, but we can even improve the economy when we give Liberian jobs. Those jobs, because when you give one Liberian a job, you are giving a whole family a job. You are lifting a family out of poverty. And they're scared. They're scared. They're afraid that this is exactly what the Liberian people want. So this thing is going to come to you, the media people, take it, discuss it in your talk shows and put it in your newspapers. I don't care, it's a public document. How these guys gang raped our economy and how they are trying to come back to use the same thing to shoot us down. A group of people working under the leadership